This parsley has been washed and dried. Now, chopping parsley, believe it or not, there's actually an art to it. Years ago, and even in some restaurants still today, they say the caliber of a chef is actually how good he is in relation to chopping parsley. So again, you'll see a lot of chopped parsley that looks lumpy and bitty and all this type of stuff. What you want to do is try and get an even flake of parsley that is uniform across. So the first thing that we want to do in relation to the parsley is we want to remove the stalks here. Now, these stalks we won't throw out. Why? Because we're going to use them in a stock. Fish stock that we're going to make later on, okay? So we're going to reserve them, keep them aside. Now, the first thing that we need to do in relation to the parsley is we need to actually bunch it down like so, okay? Get it into a ball, like that, okay? And then start off with our knife. Now, our knife is we're going to be chopping like so, but as we're chopping, the knife is going to stay in a stationary position, but what's going to happen is we're going to use our fingers to feed the parsley in towards the knife, okay? So I'll show you what I'm talking about as we go forward. So here we start, have the parsley all bunched together. It's fairly tight, so we're going to begin the chopping process now. So, and again, as you're moving forward, keep flipping the parsley around, okay? Watch your fingers. But you can see by having the parsley chopping procedure much more easy. Now, some stalk there, we'll reserve that off. Now, parsley, we're going to do the same thing again. It's a matter of process in relation to the parsley. Just keep folding it back on itself, using the side of the knife to actually bunch it together. Keep chopping and chopping, okay? Now you can see what I'm talking about here in relation to bitty and scrappy, okay? It's basically, it's all over, there's no uniform size. So we're just going to keep going here for the moment and chopping parsley out so. Now we've got to the point, the stage, where it's beginning to take some sort of a uniform shape. So now what we want to do is we want to begin to run the actual blade much more loosely across the parsley here. So as you can see here now, I'm pulling the parsley in, and now what I'm doing is I'm keeping my hand on the front of the blade. I'm using the back of the blade as a triangle, like so, and running the blade through the actual parsley. Now you want to make sure that you do this on a chopping board, because you do not want to do this on any other surface other than a chopping board, because all you're going to do is completely destroy the blade of your knife, okay? So keep running the blade through like so. Now you can see that the parsley is becoming much more even in size. So now that's just about it. We're just about finished there now. Run the blade through a few more times. Pull the parsley in on the back of itself and make sure that you get any of the larger pieces that may have escaped in onto that blade. And we're then, as I said, just about ready to actually finish off here. And now what you can see is you've got a fine parsley, a fine chop that's uniform, it's even, and now we're ready to use this in our herb crust. Okay guys, thanks. Okay guys, we're going to use our rosemary now in our fresh herb crust. But before we actually begin using the fresh rosemary, what we want to do is we want to heat it, okay? Why do we want to heat it? Because we're going to be bashing the rosemary to actually try and get some of the perfume from the oil to actually come out. Now, what we want to do with this is, as you can see here, I'm dry roasting it, but all I'm doing in relation to the dry roasting is just to get the process going in relation to heating through the actual rosemary stems, okay, and the leaf. You do not want to leave this on for too long, because what is going to happen is that the leaf is going to burn. So that's it then. That's to get our rosemary prepared to go into this herb crust. We've heated the rosemary. we've warmed it up, so it's getting ready now to actually begin to give us some oil once we begin to bash. Now, in relation to rosemary, we can, if we were doing something like a barbecue or whatever, we can use these as actual skewers, alright? But that's not what we're going to do today. We'll do another video about that again some other time. But what I want you to see here is me pulling the way the leaves are pulled off, okay? We're pulling down the stem of the rosemary, alright? So, pulling like so. And get all those leaves off before we begin to actually bash them. And after we bash, then we're going to chop. Alright, so I'll just finish this off here, and you can see it's not that difficult at all in relation to preparing it. Now, that's it. We're ready now to actually prepare the rosemary. So the first thing that we want to do is we literally want to bash the actual leaves, okay? Now, getting our lamb ready. First thing that we need to do is we need to season up the lamb. So we're just plenty of salt and pepper just across the lamb here like so. And then the lamb's going to go into the pan. We want to seal it out, and then we're going to finish it off basically with the crust going on top of that. So, step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, like I said, we're not cooking it off. All we're doing is sealing, okay? So, you understand what I'm talking about when we begin to actually get a bit of colour up on the actual lamb itself. You can see these are colouring fairly quick. One thing you do not want to do is to let this lamb burn, okay? Okay, so now we're colouring up on that side. We're going to turn the lamb up like so. Okay, so the whole idea of what we're trying to do here, guys, is we're trying to put as I said before, we're trying to put a seal all the way around the lamb, that when the herb crust goes onto it, everything is locked inside that herb crust, and the flavour of the herbs actually permeates through into the actual lamb itself. So, okay, again, we're using extreme heat here, guys. We want to get this going fast. So basically, as I said here, that's it. We've just got one more side left on the lamb to seal off, and then we'll be ready to actually start on the crust. Starting off the base for the crust. Now what I have here is I have some finely diced onion, the rosemary that you saw us prepare earlier on, and also some freshly chopped parsley, which you also saw us prepare. I'm giving it a little bit of a seasoning here. I'm going to cook this off until it becomes slightly softened. Then I'm going to add in some of the actual oils that we have left over from the lamb seasoning that we did there a while ago. So this is going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to prepare, and as I'm going through the different stages of it, I'll bring you through it. Okay, herbs have begun to break down here, which is exactly what we want to happen. Now the other thing is we don't want to cook these herbs out completely. All we're doing is sweating them off really. Now what I'm going to do to this now is I've got about a half a pound of butter in here. I'm going to add in about a half a pound of white breadcrumbs as well. Equal quantities in relation to actually putting this crust together. So again, you can weigh it out, or you can actually judge it by eye. So if it was me and I was doing this for the first time, I'd actually weigh it out. Okay, that's just about ready. Okay, and I'll take another bit more, please.
Yes, chef.
Thank you again. Now, that's it. I'm going to turn the heat off now. And I'm just basically going to work the rest of these crumbs in. And we have, not only do we have a herb crust feature, we also have something that resembles stuffing. So you could also use this as also a lamb stuffing if you wished. It's perfectly adequate, very tasty with the lamb, having the rosemary and the fresh parsley, etc. in there. Okay, so that's it. This crust is now ready. I'm going to take it off, I'm going to let it cool, I'm going to get the lamb prepared. When I'm ready to put the crust on the lamb, keep this right here.
Always take everything in a container that you can easily handle, and so there will not be too much waste. Just over the fat, just slightly smear the mustard. Get it all done at the same time, don't be going bits and pieces. All slightly smeared, but heavy enough. And using a Dijon mustard, which is not too hot. If you use an English mustard, it would be very, very hot and would take away from the flavour of the lamb. Leave it rest on there. And the mustard helps give a good hold so as you don't interfere directly onto the fat. It wouldn't happen. This is mustard, all done. Now we're going to dip first and then press on. So as we get a nice package on it. So as you have to containing, and it looks like that there. Mustard, dip first, so you get a hold on it. You get some more stuffing on there. Just keep it going, get the rhythm going. Once you've got enough mustard onto it, you will have enough to pack your whole lamb. You do not want to overdo it either, because if you've too much bread, you will end up burning it in your oven. Just keep packing down all the little crevices that you did earlier, all filled with a nice coating. Down, packing on. Again. Now, all that's done. Then you keep your coating, when you're finished, just keep your coating in the container, cool it down, and then chill it away, put it in the fridge.